All right, I want to encourage everyone to sit closer to the screen because I'm going to show some very cool AI later. I'm worried that you might not be able to see it visibly. So if you can, try to move forward so you can get a glimpse of what is the state of the art, okay? So yeah, regardless, we're going to start now, okay? So all right, settle down. So my name is Matthew. You can call me Matt. I'm from Carbon GPT. And like the name suggests, Carbon GPT is a sustainability and AI company. And today we'll be doing a workshop. I'm setting my expectation here. Yeah? So the expectation with a workshop is, I want to get workshop energy. So meaning that if I say good morning, I expect to hear back from you guys, okay? So let's try it out. So good morning, guys and ladies. Wow, that's perfect. You guys got it spot on. First try. Okay, perfect. So I used to be a lecturer also, by the way, just for you to know. So I love interacting with my students, but today you're not my student, you're just my audience, okay? So, okay, we'll get into it. So, we're gonna talk about carbon accounting, and I only have 20 minutes. Usually this sharing session, it'll take 1 hour, but do bear with me because we got a lot to cover over here. So in Carbon GPT, we want to be the best in class for sustainability and AI. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So I myself, I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Carbon GPT. And like I mentioned, we are a sustainability and AI company. We work closely with local government agencies like MDEC, Cradle to provide solutions and help to educate the market about what is sustainability and corporate sustainability about. So here are some of our partners that we work closely with. And recently, we came back from Sarawak doing the largest festival in Southeast Asia. It's called the Rainforest World Music Festival. And we did more than 26,000 people flying in for this festival in Kuching. So that was really, really fun because I always want to tell people that if you're in sustainability and you think that it's very complicated, I want to show you that sustainability can also be fun, right? So that was the festival. We had really good time showing people and telling people what is their carbon footprint and sustainability, and we had a good time partying with them as well over there. So why should you care? The first question is, why should you even care about sustainability? And where do we play? What is our role, as individuals? So again, this particular session is really tailored a bit more about the technicalities part, but I'm gonna walk you through very quickly. So there's this agency or non-profit group called IFRS. Think of them as the largest governing bodies for accountants, right? Your financial accountants. They are the one that sets the standard of telling the accountants, okay, this is the way for you to do accounting globally because we have to standardize how accountants approach finances. And recently, they also came up with their sustainability agenda on how to guide practitioners to do sustainability reporting and try to standardize this via accounting firm and accounting bodies. And what does this mean? This is a signal to the market because now your financial accountants will come to you and tell you, hey, I'm also learning about carbon footprinting. Would you like these services? And I want you to think, in 50 years' time, when people talk about carbon accounting or carbon footprint, it's not going to be something new. It's going to be as common as your financial accounting today, right? No one will question about it because it's incorporated at such a high level, at a international level. So for ESG, or in this case, I'm talking about carbon accounting, it's become a very common practice for regulatory compliances. So for example, locally, Bursa Malaysia requires all main market listed companies to submit their sustainability reporting and also do their carbon reporting, all right? Then you also have companies that are integrating their annual report with their sustainability report. So it's like a two-in-one thing, right? And this created a completely new market, new economy for sustainability practitioners. So this is what I want to highlight and emphasize for you. There's so much opportunities out there. in the realm of sustainability. And if you look at corporates, large corporates and small, medium enterprise and the corporate issuers, companies are being charged for different kind of rates and prices for doing sustainability services. You have large companies, spending up to about $8,000. You have small, medium enterprise spending up to $2,500 on sustainability. And you have the corporate issuers, annual cost, 500,000 USD just on sustainability. So I think this is a paradigm shift in our economic landscape because it really challenges the status quo of how we do business and operations, right? We have to restructure how we think about our economy. So the fundamentals of carbon accounting, we're going to go into the meat of it now, right? How many of you know what is carbon footprint? All right, show me your hands. Okay, you guys are paying attention. You guys are the right crowd for this event then. So I want to show you a video. Oh, gotta click on it. That's the music button.
You know you should probably reduce it, but what exactly is your carbon footprint? The carbon footprint refers to the total amount of greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere as a result of the activities of an individual or an organisation.
The greenhouse gases trap heat inside the atmosphere, and that's overheating the planet. So if you want to work out your own carbon footprint, you need to know the amount of greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide, you're responsible for creating. It's a difficult thing to measure precisely, and there are different definitions about how best to calculate it. But roughly speaking, there's the direct impact of using energy when we travel or to power our homes. And there's the indirect impact of the energy that's used to create all the things we use or consume. In the developed world in particular, transport is a big part of your carbon footprint. Cutting down on the use of petrol or diesel cars and taking fewer flights is one of the most effective ways of reducing it. The place you live also contributes to your personal footprint. It's important to make sure your home is heated or cooled efficiently and is well insulated. The more you can use sustainable energy like solar or wind power, the more you cut your emissions. The stuff you use at home also adds to the problem. All that plastic, metal and cardboard takes a lot of energy to produce and dispose of. So recycling can help reducing your carbon footprint, but not as much as how you travel or heat and cool your home. Then there's your diet. Above all, red meat makes your carbon footprint bigger because cows produce so much methane, another greenhouse gas. And huge numbers of trees are cut down to create pastures on which cattle can graze. In the developing world, polluting stoves are a real problem too, so it's important to try to replace them with more efficient methods of cooking. But overall, people in poorer countries produce far smaller amounts of greenhouse gases than people in richer countries do. So if you look at just what a country produces, the average amount of carbon dioxide emissions per person in the United States is about 16.1 tonnes per year. In China, it's 7.1 tonnes. And in the UK, it's about 5.5 tonnes. But in the Democratic Republic of Congo, it's only 0.03 tonnes. While in Qatar, which has a really small population but produces so much oil and gas, it's 38.6 tonnes. Now, that's just production. It doesn't take account of all the other things we've talked about, how much you consume. But obviously, the more money you have, the more you tend to consume. So if people in richer countries really want to reduce their carbon footprint, they need to make huge changes in their lifestyles. It can be done. New technologies to make things greener are coming on stream all the time. But it is a reminder that the declared aim in many countries of going carbon neutral by the middle of this century means a revolution in the way we live.
So I think it really shows the scale, right, of how much carbon footprint it varies depending on where you stay. And more importantly, your lifestyle, down to what you're wearing and what you're purchasing and what services you're subscribing. There is a carbon footprint that associates with your consumption. So I want to talk about how we actually, as practitioners, does the calculation, okay? So there are three ways of us looking at carbon footprint. There's what we call a scope 1, which is your direct emissions. There's what we call a scope 2. That's what your indirect emissions is. And there's also scope 3. So scope 1 is if I am cooking with your, your gas, right? Your natural gas. And I'm burning this natural gas for my cooking. I'm directly emitting the emissions to my atmosphere. That is your scope 1 emissions. Scope 2 is your electricity. There is also a carbon footprint, but you're not directly emitting it here. Your grid, electricity grid, which is powered by TNB, perhaps using coal-fired power plant that is emitting the emissions for you, the carbon footprint for you. And this is accountable on your end, right? And there's also scope 3, which is your supply chain. Supply chain meaning that the clothes you buy, the car you purchase, the services you hire, those are the things done line, that's what we call in your scope 3. So this is kind of like how it looks like in the entire realm of carbon accounting. Direct emission, your indirect emissions from your electricity, and your scope 3, all your supply chain, the rest. All your waste, everything that you generated, everything you purchased, all your investment portfolios, those fall under the scope 3. So we're going to discuss a bit more about that. So in a nutshell, in a simplified manner, how I calculate your carbon footprint is very simple. There is a pre-existing formula that we use that is defined for this specific activity. For example, electricity. There's already a formula for electricity. I just have to multiply by how much you use your electricity to find out the total carbon footprint. That is in a nutshell how it works, right? And in this example, I'm showcasing for traveling from Malaysia to Singapore, I am applying the formula, calculating on how much fuel you use, multiply by the formula to get how much CO2 I'm emitting, how much carbon footprint I'm generating. Same for purchasing an office furniture, right? And to showcase you how simple it is, or how easy it is, there's already pre-existing databases that has a compilation of all these different formulas for different various kind of activities that you can use to calculate your carbon footprint. But many of us just don't have the time if you want to really dig down on how granular your carbon footprint is. So, why carbon accounting? Again, it is currently still very high level, meaning that it's a top-down process. The stick is coming in, the compliance, the regulators is telling you that if you do not have a report, I cannot support you financially or spiritually, all right? So, okay, I'm going to skip through this. I'm going to go to the part where I want you to answer. So, based on what I mentioned just now, on your direct, your indirect, on your supply chain, what do you think that a stationary combustion fits under? Do you think it's direct, indirect, or supply chain? And what scope? Direct, exactly, perfect. It's scope 1 and direct, and it's quite easy, right? Because it's, I know that, I'm burning this on site, and it's just direct and scope 1. Done. That's something that you already can go out and brag to your friends and tell them that I've learned about carbon accounting. This is really the fundamental of it. How to categorize and classify your emissions. Okay, let's try another one. What about your business travel, your flights, right? Oh, I already showed the answers. Yes. Trigger happy. Yeah, scope 3. Okay, so I'm going to explain why is it scope 3. Because you don't own the plane unless you're Mars upstairs, right? For Mars, it falls under their scope 1 because they own the plane and they are burning the fuel themselves. But for you, you are hiring a service to fly. So it's actually not directly emitted by you, but it's in the supply chain. But if you own the car, it's your scope 1 emissions. Okay? Okay, waste generated, what do you think? Direct? Okay, it depends. Okay, very good. I like the mixture of answers. I hear direct, I hear indirect. So over here, I'm defining it as scope 3 because I'm assuming that someone is going to take away my trash to process in the facility or the landfill. So it has nothing to do with me. I don't own the land in the landfill and the facilities. So it's under my scope 3. But if you're composting in your house, then perhaps it's your scope 1, right? It depends on the situation, the perspective matters. So, and you have a bunch of other things that you need to decide on where to put in your scope 1, scope 2, or scope 3. And many companies, they hire sustainability consultants just to do this, where I'm here trying to explain it to you in 20 minutes, okay, how this works. And we've already plotted a graph on how easy it is to measure all these different categories and how available all these data are. Some are easier to measure than others. Some are more available than others. For example, I'm going to use an example. Your company vehicle is easy to measure because you have direct control of it, right? But as compared to, like, for example, your purchased goods and services, because you rely on your suppliers and your supply chain, it's harder to engage them and collect the data from them, okay? So, I'm going to go through this real quick. In Malaysia, there is already a key milestone set by 2027 that I would say 99%, every single one of the SMEs will be participating in carbon accounting. Why? Because every single one of us are part of the supply chain. If you're not part of the supply chain, you're not doing business. You're not working for anyone. So because you're part of the supply chain, your clients, which is high in the hierarchy of the supply chain, they will come to you and tell you that, if you do not have a report or if you cannot disclose your data to me, unfortunately, we cannot work together. That is what is going to happen in 2027. So be prepared. Like I said, carbon accounting is coming. It's not going to be a new thing anymore. Like I said, in 5 years' time, it's going to be the norm, just like financial accounting, okay? Yeah. So currently, the biggest problem with carbon accounting is that it's very complex, it's time-consuming, and it's very expensive. Why? Because, like I said, it's very new. The knowledge barrier, the gap is huge, right? I have to hire consultants. Can your SMEs hire consultants? No, they cannot, right? Not many companies can hire the likes of, Big Four or the MBBs to do your sustainability. But we want to ensure that sustainability should be accessible to everyone. Why? Because, come on, guys. When we talk about sustainability, it's not just about numbers. It's also about social equity, right? And social justice. Those are the things that people don't talk enough about, right? That's why I said that there needs to be a restructuring in the way that we do the businesses, that we engage with all stakeholders, okay? So, the status quo with carbon accounting is still very manual, it's still very mundane. You use a lot of human, right? A lot of errors can happen because there's spreadsheets everywhere. And the software approach is you make sure that you streamline, you automate as much as possible. You make it like your financial accounting system, like your Buku, like your whatever accounting software that you're using, that you're self-serviceable. If it can be so simple, I would say that many people would like to use that. So, in the interest of time, I want to show you the AI that I promised you, okay? I want to show you what AI can do in carbon accounting. So over here, this is Carbon GPT, right? And you're seeing it first glance. So I'm going to show you, like, if you have questions about, like, oh, what is this scope 1, 2, 3 things again, you can ask it like your chat GPT. What scope 3 emissions? Right? So, because, like I said, that the field is so complex, there's so much knowledge gap and barrier, as humans, it's hard for us to learn and adapt quickly to regulations and standards change. We are now using AI and incorporating it to help people to learn faster about how to approach sustainability better, all right? So in this case, I'm asking the AI on how can I do my scope 3 emissions, right? And over here, it returns me telling me that my scope 3 emissions category are all these different things. But this is not good enough. This is just a very basic, high-level thing about what scope 3 is. So if your AI can also show you your emissions, then it will be a game changer. And we even incorporated visualizations and dynamic business intelligence into the AI, meaning that you don't even need to hire consultants anymore. This can be your chief sustainability officer, powered by AI. And it's all dynamic, meaning that I can interact with all these data point, right? And ask any kind of visualizations. And once I have this step, what can I do next? The next part is the fun bit. I'm just too lazy to type in the full prompt. So I'm just gonna ask the AI just to do all the hard work for me. So once the AI understands your company's sustainability, what it can do for you is generate a roadmap for you to meet your commitment, right? In this case, I'm asking the AI to generate a roadmap for net zero for me without figuring out what net zero means, all right? And it's gonna create the action plan, to a granular level to tell you that how you're gonna achieve your sustainability targets over here, all right? And this is what we call democratizing sustainability for SMEs, for everyone, because we truly believe that when it comes to climate change and sustainability, everyone deserves a seat at the table. And that is the end of my sharing session. Thank you very much. My name is Matthew. I can do questions. Okay, I got time for questions. Thank you. All right. Okay, questions. Happy to take any.
How does AI build a roadmap specific to your company? Because is it a very generic thing?
Very good question. Very good question. So the AI, if you're just using ChatGPT, a very generic AI that you can find online, it can do most of the job, but it cannot be granular and specific to your company. But what we've built on our end is it sees your data, it sees your business operation, it understands your business nature, and it's gonna contextualize your business to the existing framework of whatever ESG framework that you wanna use. So why I say this is very important is because every now and then, I just cannot stop receiving new standards that are coming out. Then I'm like, oh my God, it's another 200 pages that I need to understand. And I have to change my report to this new framework and standard that comes out. I don't have time to do that. So I'm educating my AI. It takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes to teach my AI about this new framework. And then it's gonna, okay, I'm gonna generate a new framework according to this standard using your data. So that is personalization. That is bespoke road mapping with one single prompt, as you can see. Less than 10 seconds, we can do that. As compared to if you were to hire a sustainability consultant, it can take you up to 3 to 6 months, right, to come in, consult you to do it. But we want to create a technology that is for everyone. And you can get that granularity for you, right? Your sales department needs to do this, your operation department needs to do this, your procurement department needs to do this. We can do that. Yeah. Question? Yes. So what kind of data is required? It can be as simple as your electricity bill, all the way to all your procurements, every single thing that you spent on your offices, on your business, on your operation. So it's as simple as uploading your financial accounting into my system, and my AI will map every single transaction and tell you exactly what's the carbon footprint of each of your operating expenses. As simple as that. And we cover more than 90,000 activities. Yeah, anything you can think of out there, we have a formula, like I mentioned just now, to calculate that carbon footprint. And all that, every single thing. Yeah, even the machines. Yeah.
So what data do you use for the emission factor? I mean, come up with the emission factor.
Very good, very good. We don't reinvent it. So what we did is we just aggregate all the public available registries emissions factor. So that's why we have a huge database. And that's also our unique value proposition, because you don't have to go to find out those formulas or those registry. And we aggregate it every year, and we update it, and we do the data refresh for you, right? So you don't have to worry about it. And if you have conducted your life cycle analysis for your product, you can also key in your custom emissions factor if you have it, no problem. Yeah. Any other question? On carbon accounting, maybe not so much on carbon GPT. And if you're interested about carbon GPT, we have a booth upstairs. Come and speak to us. We're happy to show you more. Right? What I've shown you is really like the surface of the iceberg, what we built. Yeah.
software accounting, right?
Yeah.
I believe it requires some monetary rate. So how do you
Monetize?
monetary rate? I mean, like in RMs, USD, or what?
Yeah.
For each emission that we produce. So how do you come up with those rates?
Very good question. Very good question. Okay, this is very important for everyone because I personally believe that things is gonna change very rapidly in Southeast Asia. Let's look at Singapore. 2019, carbon tax was introduced in Singapore. 5 Sing dollars per ton of CO2 that you emit for certain industry and companies. 5 Sing dollars. This year, they increased it from 5 Sing dollar to 25 Sing dollars. And do you know, I'll give you a case study that I did. If Petronas were to operate in Singapore, the tax on their carbon will be 700 million Sing dollars just on carbon. And you think about, if something similar were to happen in Malaysia, the trickle-down effect into the SMEs on the cost for carbon tax would be immense. And without you minding your business on your carbon footprint, you will be losing money because you're not caring about it, just like your finance. If you don't do your financial accounting, how are you running a business because you don't mind your own business? Similarly, like carbon accounting, if a carbon tax were to be introduced in the next few years in Malaysia, are you going to adapt well to it? And the entire economy is going to shift. Not to mention, 2 weeks ago, Thailand just announced their carbon tax scheme, right? So it's just a matter of time before it happens. So we got to be prepared for the resilience. And this is also part and parcel with sustainability. It's about adaptability. It's about resilience. It's about building a community. So that's why we are here to fill in the gaps on the technical sustainability part, where you don't have to worry about it. We take care of it, and you can go and contribute and work on other parts of sustainability within your businesses, right? Yeah. Okay, I think that's all the question I can get. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you so much.